Have you ever wondered, could something as innocent as a short afternoon nap actually raise your blood pressure? Today we'll explore the story of George, a 72-year-old man living in Arizona, to uncover what's really happening each time he dozes off in the middle of the day.
Hello, Doctor. My name is George, and I'm 72 years old. I live in a small town out in Arizona, where the summer afternoons get so hot. All you want to do is shut the doors, draw the curtains, and sneak in a little nap to escape the blistering heat outside. My wife, Ruth, and I have been retired for nearly 10 years now. Every afternoon after lunch, we have this routine just lying down for about 30 to 45 minutes. It's not a deep sleep, more like a light doze, just enough to feel refreshed and ready for the rest of the day. I've always believed it was good for our health, but over the past few months, something has been bothering me. I bought one of those easy-to-use digital blood pressure monitors from the pharmacy, and I've been checking my blood pressure a few times a day, once in the morning, after I wake up, once before dinner, and after my afternoon nap. What caught my attention is this. Almost every time I check it after my nap, my blood pressure is higher than it was in the morning. Not every single day, but enough times that it started to make me feel uneasy. And I began to wonder, could my afternoon nap, something I've always believed was good for me, actually be doing me harm? Could it be the reason my blood pressure seems unstable lately? Maybe it's the way I sleep. Or perhaps I'm sleeping too long. Now, I'm not someone who worries over every little thing, but at this age, heart health isn't something to take lightly. And I know very well that high blood pressure is called a silent killer. For a reason, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't warn you, but it can lead to serious trouble. So here's what I really need to know. Doctor, could my afternoon naps be making my blood pressure worse?
Hello, Mr. George, and first of all, thank you for sharing your experience so openly. I truly believe there are many other seniors out there with the same concern. You just happened to say it out loud. And it's a great question, well worth exploring. Let's start with an important point. Afternoon naps are not a bad thing. In fact, for older adults, a short midday nap when done right can offer a range of benefits, like boosting memory, calming the nervous system, reducing stress, and helping the body recharge. So then, why does blood pressure sometimes rise after a nap? The answer lies in the body's natural physiological response when waking up from rest, especially from a deeper state of sleep. This change can be more pronounced in older adults. When we sleep, especially during the deeper stages, our heart rate slows down, blood pressure drops, and the sympathetic nervous system basically powers down. It's a natural state of rest and recovery. But when we wake up, especially if it's a sudden awakening, the sympathetic nervous system kicks back in, and sometimes it does so a little too aggressively. Think of it like flipping a switch too fast. That sudden jolt can cause a temporary spike in blood pressure, even if it only lasts for a few minutes or maybe a bit longer. Now, this is a normal physiological response, not a sign of illness. But as we age, our blood vessels tend to become less elastic, meaning they don't adjust as quickly or as smoothly. So that temporary rise in blood pressure after a nap becomes more noticeable in older adults. Taking a nap that lasts longer than 60 minutes or napping too close to the late afternoon can cause the body to slip into a deeper sleep cycle, more like nighttime sleep. When you wake up from that, your body may not have had enough time to adjust your internal clock or stabilize your blood pressure. That's when you might feel groggy, have a racing heartbeat, or even feel a bit dizzy, especially if you stand up right away after waking. In other words, napping isn't the problem. But if your nap is too deep, too long, or you wake up and move too quickly, your body might react strongly while trying to switch back to awake mode, and a spike in blood pressure is part of that reaction. There's one more factor that often gets overlooked: your sleeping position. If you nap while lying on your arm in a stuffy room or in an overheated space, your nap might not actually be restful or restorative. When you wake up, your body has to adjust several things all at once, including your blood pressure. So to sum it up, Mr. George, afternoon naps aren't the main cause of high blood pressure. But if they're not done the right way, they can cause a temporary spike in blood pressure when you wake up. There's no need to worry too much. It's actually quite common to see some fluctuation when checking blood pressure after a nap, and the good news is it can often be managed with a few simple adjustments. But before we talk about solutions, let's take a moment to understand the possible risks if this pattern continues over time. Now let's talk about something even more important. What happens if these less than ideal nap habits continue over time, especially in someone who already has high blood pressure? When your blood pressure rises slightly after each nap, at first, it may just be a normal physiological response. But if this keeps happening day after day, week after week, your heart and blood vessels have to work harder each time to bring your blood pressure back to normal. For older adults whose arteries are already less elastic and whose hearts aren't as strong as they were in their 30s or 40s, even small fluctuations like this can slowly become a burden. Over time, the heart has to pump harder to keep blood flowing smoothly, and that extra strain can lead to symptoms like fatigue, lightheadedness, or a tight feeling in the chest later in the day, even when there's no clear trigger. When blood pressure shifts too quickly, like going from a low level during sleep to a higher level right after suddenly waking up, the nervous system jumps in to restore balance. But sometimes that system overreacts, causing the heart to beat faster than normal. This can lead to temporary irregular heart rhythms, and in certain cases, especially in people with a history of high blood pressure or atherosclerosis, these sudden spikes can trigger what's known as a mini-stroke or transient ischemic attack, TIA. This might cause brief symptoms like confusion, slurred speech, or weakness in an arm or leg that lasts only a few minutes and then disappears. It's easy to miss if you're not paying close attention. Another silent consequence that often goes unnoticed is this. Taking long naps during the day can disrupt the body's internal clock, making it harder for older adults to fall asleep at night or to stay in deep sleep. When that sleep cycle is thrown off, blood pressure may not dip enough during the night, and nighttime is exactly when the body is supposed to rest and reset. As a result, blood pressure can remain elevated through the night, leaving the person feeling drained in the morning. Even more concerning, this nighttime elevation in blood pressure can raise the risk of an early morning stroke, which is already a high-risk time for people with heart or vascular conditions. There's one last point I really want to emphasize, Mr. George. When blood pressure fluctuates after a nap but doesn't cause obvious symptoms like dizziness, headaches, or fatigue, it's easy for people to brush it off. Because of that, they don't monitor their numbers regularly. They don't adjust their nap habits, and by the time a complication shows up, it's often too late. To sum it all up, a slight rise in blood pressure after a nap isn't something to worry about if it only happens once in a while. But if it becomes a daily pattern, it can quietly put stress on your heart and blood vessels, disrupt your sleep quality, and increase the risk of long-term blood pressure issues. The good news is, we can absolutely make changes that turn your afternoon nap into a natural tonic for your health instead of a hidden risk. And right after this, I'll walk you through some simple yet powerful ways to do just that. Now that we understand why afternoon naps can affect blood pressure and the potential risks if things aren't adjusted early, the good news is we can absolutely make naps a healthy part of daily life. Below are some expert-recommended strategies from cardiologists and sleep specialists, simple practical steps you can easily try right at home. Studies have shown that naps under 30 minutes are considered power naps, just enough to help the body recharge without slipping into deep sleep. When you wake up from a shorter nap like that, you're less likely to feel groggy or sluggish, and your blood pressure doesn't spike the way it might after waking from deeper sleep. So, Mr. George, if you've been napping for 45 to 60 minutes, try setting a timer for 25 minutes from the time you lie down. It may take your body about 3 to 5 days to adjust to this new rhythm, but most older adults find that they feel more refreshed and more stable after making this small change. The ideal time for an afternoon nap is about 1 to 2 hours after lunch, roughly between 12:30 and 2 o'clock p.m. Napping too soon after eating can slow down digestion, while napping too late after 3 o'clock p.m. can make it harder to fall asleep at night. As we age, our internal body clock naturally shifts. So adjusting your nap time to this midday window can help reset your natural rhythm and support more stable blood pressure throughout the day. A good nap isn't just about when you sleep. It's also about how you set up your environment. Lying on your back with your head slightly elevated can help improve circulation and reduce pressure on the heart. Avoid curling up or lying on your arm, as that can restrict blood flow and leave you feeling stiff or numb when you wake up. This mild discomfort can trigger a slight rise in blood pressure as the body reacts. Ideally, nap in a quiet, cool room with soft, natural light. Avoid total darkness like nighttime sleep. This helps signal to your brain that it's just a short rest, not bedtime. One small habit that can have a big impact on blood pressure is the way you wake up. For older adults, getting up too quickly after a nap can lead to lightheadedness, dizziness, or a sudden spike in blood pressure because the body hasn't had time to adjust. Try this instead. After opening your eyes, stay lying down for another 1 to 2 minutes and gently stretch. Then slowly sit up on the edge of the bed. Take 3 to 5 deep, slow breaths before standing. This gradual process helps your sympathetic nervous system ease back into action without shocking the body, allowing your blood pressure to stay more stable after a nap. If Mr. George already has a home blood pressure monitor, that's fantastic. Tracking your blood pressure before and after your afternoon nap for several days in a row can help reveal a true pattern rather than relying on a one-time reading or how you feel in the moment. If your numbers start to level out after trying these tips, that's a great sign. But if your blood pressure remains high or comes with symptoms like fatigue or dizziness, it's a good idea to write down the readings and share them with a cardiologist. In short, you don't have to give up your afternoon nap. Just adjust how you nap, choose the right timing, keep it short and gentle, and wake up slowly, and your nap can become a trusted friend, not a hidden threat to your blood pressure. Dear Mr. George, and to everyone watching today, we've just taken a short journey together, and I truly hope it's been clear and helpful enough to show that afternoon naps are not the enemy of high blood pressure, as long as we know how to nap the right way. Let me quickly highlight a few of the most important takeaways. Napping is a healthy habit when done at the right time, around 12:30 to 2 o'clock p.m., and for the right length, 20 to 30 minutes. Waking up too suddenly, napping too long, or sleeping in an uncomfortable environment can cause a slight rise in blood pressure after waking, especially in older adults. A temporary rise in blood pressure after a nap isn't always dangerous, but if it happens frequently and goes unchecked, it can affect your heart, your nighttime sleep, and your overall well-being. The good news? You can manage it with just a few simple adjustments like timing your nap well, choosing a good sleeping position, and waking up gently. Set a timer for 25 minutes for tomorrow's nap, rather than just sleeping until you wake up. When you wake up, don't jump out of bed right away. Stay still for a moment, stretch gently, and take a few deep breaths. Give your body time to reboot. These may seem like small changes, but it's often the small things that make a big difference for your blood pressure and for how refreshed you feel each afternoon. I truly believe that if Mr. George and all of you watching give these tips a try, within just a few days, your body will thank you, not just with better blood pressure numbers, but with lighter, more energized afternoons. Thank you for staying with us all the way to the end of today's video. If you've ever wondered, could something as simple as a nap really affect my blood pressure that much? Then welcome, you're not alone. Maybe Mr. George's story today feels a little like your own. Or maybe it reminds you of your spouse, or even your parents. And if you're facing a similar question, whether it's about blood pressure, sleep, medication, or just navigating daily life, at this age, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to share your story in the comments below. We read every single one, and sometimes we respond even faster than your heart rate when you suddenly remember you had a blood pressure check scheduled this morning. Just a little humor, but truly, we deeply value every message you send.